So this is the original garage space before any work was carried out. The size from front to back was about 25 square metres, and I was using about half of that. So it took me a couple of days to clear all the space. It was become a bit of a dumping ground. And the first thing that had to be done was the access door had to be replaced. It was an old steel roller door and it was all broken. So that was removed and it was replaced with 2 timber doors, like so. And then we were ready to put up the first stud partition wall. I made sure to keep gaps between the timbers the same width as what the insulation rolls were going to come as. So they were about 600mm, and it just made everything so much easier. Less cuts, less mess. So this was the isolation room, and what I actually did wrong was I built this first before doing the insulation in the plasterboard. What I should have done was waited and put my plasterboard up first, and it would just cause less cuts. But to be honest, it was no big deal. It just created a little extra work, but it was fine. So there was the entrance to the studio. And our nice framework for our isolation room. And it took a while just to measure it and make sure it was going to be big enough once I had the plasterboard on to sit in with a guitar, with an amp. So just going over my measurements again, just trying to get it all spot on. And then we were ready for plasterboard and insulation. So I used 12.5mm acoustic insulation all around the room. And I was using Isover acoustic partition roll. Okay, so all I'm doing here is just stapling the insulation to the timber frame, but I'm so glad I wore a mask because that stuff itches like mad. It goes everywhere. And this was all completed. This took a couple of days just to get it all sorted, especially the ceiling and all the rewiring of the lights. And then it was onto the jointing. This was actually the hardest bit of the job, the whole project. It was so tough. It took so much time to fill in all the joins. There was so much dust. And when you thought you were done, you had to go over it again and do another couple of layers. As you can see there, every little hole had to be filled. It was so time consuming. And it took a few weeks to get it right before I could start painting and do an undercoat. So I used a brick effect wallpaper, which went quite nice with the magnolia. And the opposite walls were a dark bottle green. And the next step was the flooring. So I managed to get a bulk discount when me and the wife were doing the living room floor. So it was fairly straightforward to put down. The room was only 12 square metres, so it didn't take too long, 2 afternoons, to put the whole thing down and finish it with the skirting. You can see here I'm just putting down 2 layers of underlay just for the soundproofing. So there was the finished floor with the first piece of furniture, and you can see the skirting's been put on with the acoustic sound panels on the wall, which was just used with some leftover insulation and some fabric. And the fire door was put on for the last piece of soundproofing, all sealed up. And a couple of months later, this was the finished room. All in all, the project took me about 9 months from start to finish. I didn't really rush, I didn't put too much stress on myself. I just took my time and I enjoyed the whole process. The only bit I didn't like was the finishing of the plasterboard. Haven't done that before and probably will not do it again because it was a pain in the neck. Apart from that, the project was extremely enjoyable and the hard work paid off because I've got a little creative space now where I can come and work on my music production and write songs. If you'd like a detailed breakdown of the full cost of the project, just give me a wee message. I'd be happy to send that information across. And look, I am a complete DIYer, an absolute novice when it comes to building, but I threw myself in head first and I threw myself into the deep end, just going on YouTube videos and information online. If there's anything you would have done differently, please leave a comment, let me know. Thanks for watching the video, and like, share and subscribe because there's going to be plenty of content in the next few months. Thanks for watching.